Alright guys, so in this video we'll be
Welcome
doing
back
a sales
to my
analysis,
channel,
right?
Salako the
We'll be
Analyst.
analyzing
So in this
the
video,
data sets,
we
this
will be
data set performance that we currently have
I'll be walking
to
you through
be able to
a
extract,
very
or
interesting
should I say deduce
short
quality.
project on sales analysis. So what we're doing is we're working on an imaginary data set that has data points that speaks to the customer's ID, the trend of sales for a given business, the demographics, and all of that, right? So what we'll just be doing is we're looking at the trends, the patterns that we can see in the sales. We looking at what products actually yielded more revenue. Look at the selling prices, the cost prices, the total revenues, and more importantly, we'll also be learning how to do our forecast. So based on, let's say in the week one we made this sale, week two we made
insight, and that will help
in
this
week two
imaginary
we made,
business.
let's say, a 20% increase. Week three, let's say it dropped by 5%. Week four, let's say it increased by 8%. All of those patterns. So Excel has the capacity to read through, or should I say skim through, all of those patterns and then deduct or deduce a forecast based on the trends that it's able to read, the trends of the existing. So it can read the existing data or the existing insight and then formulate a forecasted insight or scenario, as you would see in this video. Go ahead.
Make better decisions. So follow me as I walk you through this analysis. Alright, so the first thing you want to do for any analysis when you have your data set, the first thing you want to make sure you do is to properly clean your data and to prepare your data. So by cleaning your data, I mean that you want to look out for inconsistencies, you want to look out for missing values, you want to be sure that there's no outlier in your data set. So let's skim through our data. For the order ID, we have 1001, 1003, 1004. But if you look here, we see that we have a date, right? So when the data was being imported, this was transposed for this under order date. So we want to ensure that we put it back the way it's supposed to be. Paste it here. So 1002 back here. We are currently cleaning our data, skim through customer ID. Under customer ID is fine. Product category, electronics, share, electronics, apparel. So but if you look under product name, you see that we have laptop, furniture, smartphone. So share is supposed to be a product name, not a product category. So while this is supposed to be furniture, right? Good. So I can leave every other thing under product category and product name. It's fine. Quantity is fine. Unit price is fine. Cost price per unit is okay. All of this. Under city we have USA, Los Angeles, Chicago, Toronto, USA. So okay. So this is pretty much okay. Alright. So now that we have ensured that our data set is clean and is and is without inconsistencies, we can go on with our analysis. So the next thing we want to do is to fill up the blank spaces. So here you see that we have the unit price for the first 800, 150 for smartphone, we have 500 for t-shirt, we have 20 for the currency, let's say $20, right? So now we have cost price per unit 700. So this is the cost price. This is the selling price. So it means that the total cost price in this context will be equal to the quantity sold, right, multiplied by the unit, right? So in this case, we have 1 4, right? So if you drag down, you have every other thing that follows. So this will be 100 times the quantity, so quantity, 300 times the quantity, likewise 10 times 5, which is the quantity. Now then we have total price. So for clarity, let's put our profits. How do we get our profit? Our profit margin, how do we get that? So our profit margin will be equal to the total price, that's the total selling price, right? Minus, so let's be sure to put this within brackets. The total selling price subtracted by the cost price divided by the total price. That's the total selling price. So divided by J2 again, divided by J2. So J2. Excuse me. So want to see the margin? Let's leave this in percentage. So now the profit margin of 13% here. Now the profit margin of 33%, 40%, 50%. So let's put a conditional format in here to say that here we have. So let's come here. Here we have between. So when we have less than 50%, less than 50%, less than 50%, fill it up with red. When we have less than, when we have greater than, or let's say between 50%, between 50% and above, let's say 50% and 100%, fill it up with green. Alright, so this is the highest profit margin here, where we bought the product. That money we spent was 50 naira, and we were able to sell for 100 naira. That's a whooping 50% increase, right? Okay. So the next analysis we will do is the pillar for this analysis, right? So let's even get our total sales for each category. So for electronics, we have 1,006. For furniture, 600. Electronics again. But let's call this. So I just want it to be more elaborate. So now we have. Please bear in mind that the illustrations here are all imaginary, just for the sake of explanation. So now that we have our product category, and then we also have our sales, our total sales. So let's visualize this. Let's visualize this. I like that and hold control down, and then also I like this. Go to insert. Then let's use a pie chart. Let's use a pie chart to represent this. So we have the pie chart. Yes. So let's drag this down. Let's reduce the size so we can see our full screen at a glance. Right? So sorry. Let's change the title here. Let's call this sales analysis. Right? The sales analysis by product category. By products. Right? So this is pretty much okay. Let's change this to the gray background. So this looks like what we need. We have the electronics represented in blue. So this blue portion is 57%. We're paying 57% of the total sales, right? So and then we have furniture to take. That's this orange color. That's 21%. We have mobile phones, the gray color, 10%. Then we have apparel, 4%. So that's the sales analysis using the product category represented in the visual format, right? So I think this is what gives us the insight that we need to. So if you have been asked to advise what product category yielded the highest revenue, just by looking at this chart, you can see that it is the electronics category that yielded the highest revenue, and then the apparel category yielded the least revenue. So if it is a business scenario, it will mean that it kind of suggests to the management of that business that going forward or in the next business period, be it a month or the next business fiscal period, which is a year, the business should consider focusing more of its resources, channeling more of its resources towards the highest revenue yielding category, which is the electronics. You can also go ahead and focus on the next, which is furniture. You can deal majorly on electronics and furniture, and then focus less on mobile phones and apparel. Except there are other facts and business wants to consider that is not covered within this illustration. I hope this helps. Alright, it's also interesting to see that based on all of this analysis that we've been doing, you can also say, okay, since now let's even say once we ignore the product category, just focusing on the dates, and once we conduct an analysis using just the dates and the revenue generated. If on the first, as a business, you're able to generate $1,600. On the second, you generated $600. The third, you generated $500. On the fourth, $100. Based on this trend, what are we likely to generate on the fifth? So this is what is referred to as forecasting, right? So having highlighted column B and column G, let's assume we are on, sorry, I was just going to click on that. So disturb my hand for a bit. Let's be okay. So let's cancel this. We don't need this. So let's assume we are on our own. So go to data, right? And click on forecast sheet. So when you click on forecast sheet, you see that this pops up, right? So you want the end, the forecast, when you come, you see forecast end. So it's suggesting that it just forecast for the next week. I want to say, oh no, I want it to forecast till the 10th, right? So then click on OK, right? So let's drag this down and let's focus on the technique that's created for us to see what actually happened. So based on the existing trend, so if on the first we have 16, 600, 500, 100 respectively, the next, based on that trend, the next value should be minus 488, minus 1960, minus 1472, and so on and so forth. So this is the forecasted figures or forecasted revenue based on the existing trend. So let's go back and use something more realistic. So we are not just feeding ourselves with negative values. Let's delete this off. Let's delete this and let's work on this value. Let's change this to 10,000. Let's change this to 12,000. Let's leave this as 13,500. Let's change this to 13,600. 13,600. And let's do the same forecast again to see what happens. So like I said, go to forecast sheet. Let's change this to want to stop on 10th of January. Hit enter. Let's drag this down to see. So you can see it has shown you a trend. You can close this. Let's just look at the table to see what it is. So if we have this existing trend, it just basically telling us that this is the forecasted revenue for this business. And this is the last forecasted figure as at the 10th of January. So that's pretty much how to forecast. So what this helps you to do is to see, okay, this is where the business current revenue position. And based on the trends that we have, look at the trend line. If you observe the trend line, see that, okay, based on this trend, I don't know why it's not coming up. Okay, so based on the trend that we have, on the first, look at the trend, an upward trend, right? So between the third and the fourth, there's something that looks like a steep slope, right? And then you have an upward movement consistently, right? So based on this trend that we have, the existing trend line is the blue line. Now the forecasted trend line is the orange line. I hope I'm correct with my color pronunciation. Right? So the existing trend line is blue, while the forecasted trend line is orange. So I'll be able to learn something. So the moment you have this your data set on your Excel sheet, you can use what you already have to get or to be able to have an insight into what the future looks like, into what the future is. That is that about forecasting on this sales analysis, right?
For watching. I hope you're able to learn a thing or two. Do well to share this video with somebody. Very important. Share this video with somebody. Share with a friend. And when you share like that, what it does for us is it helps YouTube, tells YouTube to push this video out to other persons that will find it useful. Thank you. I remain Salako Emmanuel, and I love you guys. Peace out.